Hi, Neil Lazarus here, and we have another and perhaps our last video broadcast together. First of all, Rosh Hashanah is approaching, and I would want to wish you all a Shana Tova. And when we look at Rosh Hashanah, it's always worthwhile to look at the year that has gone by. If we have a look only yesterday, when Ahmadinejad speaks to the United Nations, I was shocked and horrored to see yet again one member of the United Nations and its leader calling for the destruction of another member state. When we saw Ahmadinejad talking about a small group of Zionists controlling America and controlling world affairs, it reminded us of some of the more darker days in our history. Ahmadinejad represents perhaps one of the most radical forms of anti-Semitism that exists today, calling for the destruction of the State of Israel and replacing the word Jews with Zionism. Anyone who heard the speech realizes, I think, the threat that Iran under Ahmadinejad poses to Israel, especially when it has nuclear capability. If we're going to look into the next year, whether it's the Jewish year or the Christian year of 2009, there are three major factors which are emerging and taking place. Anyone who's interested in politics always looks at process rather than just headlines. One, what's clear? Ahmadinejad isn't changing his position regarding his nuclear intentions. I remind you, however, that they also have elections in Iran, and his position is up for grabs. It looks like he will stay in power. The second is internal Israeli politics. Ehud Olmert resigns. Tzipi Livni, admittedly by a small margin, wins the Kadima Party elections and now stands at the head of the Kadima Party. When Ehud Olmert handed in his resignation to the president of the state, Shimon Peres had 9 days to decide which member of the Knesset would be able to form a new coalition. He did it quite quickly. He appoints Tzipi Livni to make that new coalition. That's where we are today in as we broadcast and tape this vlog. It looks like Tzipi Livni will be able to make a coalition, but nothing's definite in Israeli politics. The question is, who will be the partners? It looks like Shas may well come in. It looks like the Labour Party, despite its flirtation with the Likud, will come in. And it looks like Tzipi Livni may probably be able to make a coalition. Few questions would be, will Meretz come in? It's not clear. And is that good for Tzipi Livni? Because that would mean that it's a much more leftward-leaning coalition that she's formed. Once we have that, the third element, which I think is going to be important for next year, will be the elections in the United States on November the 4th. Who's going to be the next president? Why is it going to be important? Because those are the three elements which are going to characterize next year. Ahmadinejad, the Iranian threat, who's going to be the Prime Minister of Israel? Looks like it will probably be Tzipi Livni, although we never quite know. Netanyahu has, or will they still continue playing games and raising the stakes in negotiation? Perhaps the biggest question, though, is what's going to happen with Syria. In Syria, we have the secret negotiations still going on, and they're basically waiting. They're waiting for Tzipi Livni that he's not going to make a new government under Tzipi Livni. And at the same time, and the big question mark, which we'll let you know on November the 4th, who's going to be the next president? Once you have those three elements, you have all of the elements coming together, which will decide foreign policy towards Iran. We also have, on January the 9th, the end of the term of office of Abu Mazen, or Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president. That starts raising question marks about what's going to happen on the Palestinian front. Hamas has said that they won't accept another term of office and that they will, after that date, not recognize Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president, as the legal head of the Palestinian Authority. Is there a Palestinian crisis brewing early January in the West Bank? Remember, Hamas's long-term plan is to take over the West Bank and to take total control of the Palestinian Authority. At the same time, next year is going to be also interesting because we have Gilad Shalit still under being held captive by the Palestinians, by Hamas. Will we see a release? We need to make her new government. They're waiting for the new president of the United States to be elected, and then we'll start to see negotiations taking place. I've said in other broadcasts that the Syrians seem to like talking about peace rather than making peace. Finally, when we look at next year, we're also going to have to look at some other larger questions which perhaps we don't so much discuss here, including economics. The recent economics plight of the United States is affecting us in Israel. It affects tourism, it affects our economy as well as the exchange rate. That could have some very concrete effects on the Israeli economy.